Redditors who have lived in poverty? What is something about poverty that people just don't understand without experiencing it? How it grinds people into dust. Between the malnourishment, housing insecurity, direct to secondary generational trauma, abject exploitation by finance, poor health, environmental toxins, despair, violence, it's so fucking crazy. And feeling shame. That's part of it too. It just doesn't ever let up. For most people, there's no swing of fortune, unknown rich uncle, winning Powerball, big promotion, agent who discovers your 1 in a million talent. It's just stress and grind and struggle and cavities you can't get fixed and nice things you'll never have and shitty food and roaches and mean landlords and your car making noises and your body slowly wearing out. Well-off people shit on you for getting high or blowing your whole paycheck on one fun thing, on the assumption that if you work hard and make good decisions, you'll one day be well off too, and then you can buy many nice things and still make rent. Maybe, but probably not. How expensive being poor actually is. Cheap stuff breaks faster, payday loans wreck your finances, and you can't afford to buy in bulk or take advantage of deals. You end up paying more for everything in the long run. And time-consuming. Creating the perfect budget, meal planning, travel, school shopping, doctor, dentists, and emergencies. Now, if I'm lazy with any of these, I'll still be okay and can sleep well, knowing there is money in the bank. I grew up poor, and there is constant low-level stress and worry about money. That shit will take a toll on your body over time. They say money doesn't buy you happiness, but it sure as hell buys you freedom from a lot of stress. I've been there. I've been at the point where I was rationing out slices of bread from a supermarket brand budget loaf to see me through the week, and let me tell you, living like that is fucking exhausting. Anyone who tells you that money doesn't buy happiness either has more money than they need for living expenses, or they want some of yours, or they're trying to justify why you don't need more of it. It's extremely embarrassing to need to return something you can't pay for at the checkout, so I used to always triple or quadruple check the prices of everything in my cart, plus taxes and $1 or $2 buffer. Repeat that every single time you're getting food, and it starts to take a toll on how you perceive food. For example, trying to justify what to buy based on weight to dollar. So if something is, say, 100 grams per $1, you might be more tempted than getting a healthier, more tasty option that costs $1.50 per 100 grams, just so you get more full for cheaper. I remember doing and feeling this. It's so humiliating. But, one time when I really needed to just get my daughter a damn Lunchable because she was going on a field trip, and they actually asked that we send the kids with a Lunchable, like no bag lunch. So we went into the store before school and my card was declined. I was almost in tears and I had to reassure my daughter, don't worry, we will go ask Grandpa. It was half an hour before school and I wanted the earth to open and swallow me up with how sad she looked. So we got in the car, and as I was about to pull out, a lady came running up and knocked on my window, and when I rolled it down, she handed the Lunchable to me. Didn't want her to miss out, is all she said. I got out thank you and she was gone. But I'll tell you, I cried so hard. It still makes me tear up at how that small kindness meant so damned much to me because it was for my baby girl. Restored my faith in humanity a little, I think. I am not that poor anymore, and now when I'm behind PPL in a line and I see someone putting things back, I pay forward what that lady did for me and help. Because that lady was right. No one should have to miss out or feel embarrassed and afraid. No one deserves to feel that way. How much a little money can impact you? We were living on government benefits in the UK when I was a kid, as my father had died and my mother was battling cancer. She gave me £5 to go to the shop and buy a small piece of meat for dinner. I got to the shop and realized I had lost the money. When I got home and told her, the look on her face still haunts me 40 years later. I am pretty well off now, but every penny counts. This Grew up poor in US. Government cheese, food stamps. Family ran out of money by the end of the month. Usually no car and no phone. Well off now. However, I have never lost my understanding that to some people, $1 is a lot of money. I still live well below my means and think I will never be able to change that. That buying cheap shit works out more expensive in the long run, but because you don't have a choice, you're stuck in that cycle. Cars are number one on this. Owned many a POS that I spent more time under than in. Hoping it starts in the morning before work. Being stranded. Good times. I've often been pulled into very dark places mentally when my car makes a noise. When people try to imagine poverty, I think they imagine having to get by on very little money. But in some ways, that's the easy part. The hard part is the stress of not knowing how you're going to make rent, expecting every knock at the door to be a debt collector, being unable to absorb any kind of financial shock. That frees up when you've swiped your card and waiting to see if your transaction will go through. As a kid in poverty, all my school lunches, we got them free, we were so poor, was me figuring out what would keep in my backpack so I could take it home and give to my toddler brother. It was always walking around the playground during recess to find loose change. It was being singled out because we didn't have money for the hygiene basics. How psychologically f***ed it can be. I didn't have a bed from 6th grade up until I was 26. I slept on a pallet of blankets in my room and no one was ever allowed to come over because my mom was so ashamed that she was never able to buy me a bed. My mom hasn't had a bed either since I was 10 years old. I'm almost 30 and she still doesn't. I've offered to buy her a bed and she won't let me do it because in her words, I went without so you could have a chance and I don't need it. I was never able to buy you one and my life is almost over. It'd be a waste. I'm making more money now than anyone has ever seen in my family. My mom was a single mother taking care of me, my sister, and my sister's baby on $10 an hour and $100 of SNAP a month. I have a king-size bed in my own place now, but there's many nights I can't sleep so I have to make a pallet next to my bed and sleep there because it's comforting and feels like home. When you grow up in poverty, it not only changes how you process the world, but how you're able to function in it both physically and mentally. It influences everything about you. Edit. OMG. I didn't expect this to track a lot of attention, but thank for all the kind words and conversation around this. Obviously, I do still struggle with poverty, even if I'm no longer considered poor. I really do want to get my mom a bed. I always have, but my mom doesn't do well with gifts, even if she deserves it. She has some mental health issues, but she doesn't believe in therapy, so she's not open to just doing things for her. As much as I'd want, I have to respect it. She will literally flip like a switch, and I can't have that. She does want teeth though, so I'm trying to see if once she retires that's still on the table. She's a diabetic with an overbite and an extra bone in the roof of her mouth. Anywhere she's gone to see about implants or dentures, it's over $10K off rip and I can't do that yet. So if there's any suggestions regarding that, I'm all ears. This makes me sad for you. I don't think people who have never been really poor can understand that it's traumatizing. Please don't be sad. I don't know if I would have achieved the things I have if I didn't grow up in poverty. I've been to therapy for a multitude of things, but poverty is not something I can't grow past because it's so easy to go back to that. The better I do, the more I feel like living in dire straits again is right around the corner. I don't care how much money I make, some aspect of my life will always be impoverished because that's what I know, that living on minimum wage or national average jobs isn't the same as your comfortable 80,000 plus job. Reddit has a habit of people on 80 to 100,000 plus acting like they are in the same situation as those actually on the bottom. For real, it's one thing saying, I'm paycheck to paycheck, but you're still buying clothes, paying for Netflix subscriptions, getting coffee outside with friends, which is not bad things to do. It's just not living in poverty. No one has mentioned the effect on education. Kids in poverty fall around 7 years behind their peers in literacy and numeracy, impacting everything else they learn. they are less likely to enter higher education and less likely to work in professional jobs due to being unable to access a full curriculum. There's a knock-on effect that eventually leads to them being impoverished as an adult. On top of that, there's mental tax on kids that often gets forgotten about, or at least underplayed. Kids don't know it's not normal to feel worried about insecure food housing caregiving. Young carers with the responsibility of looking after siblings or other adults in the home fare worst. When you've got the world on your shoulders, obviously you're not focusing at school, and obviously that will present in your behavior and motivation to learn. Grew up poor. Now teach in a high poverty school. This. Best kids ever. Not lazy, they are survivors and resilient. Never getting to eat out or go to events and also not having enough food. My city has a big community festival in the park every year that is literally just all about stuffing yourself with food. When I was in elementary school, apparently somebody thought this would make a good field trip. Mom didn't have money to send me with, but kept reassuring me that the school will have something planned to make sure I get lunch. Turns out no, they did not, but I got to talking to friends on the bus whose parents had given them plenty of money, and they decided to basically pool resources so we could all have fun as a group. Teacher overheard and vetoed that idea, called me some choice descriptive words I felt were massively unfair, wouldn't listen to my friends say that they were offering, I wasn't begging, and when we got to the event, she made sure to park me and 2 other penniless kids where she could watch us to make sure we weren't begging. Even insisted that the seating was for people who were eating, so we had to stand. Turns out if you force a malnourished kid with blood sugar problems to stand around for hours in direct summer sunlight with nothing to do but watch other people eat, eventually it's gonna have to start crying while looking like it's about to faint. And no, trying to give it your slobbered on leftovers will not make those sobbing noises any quieter. I'm nearly 40 years old now, still really hate that festival. Thanks for watching. Write your story in the comments, share the video with a friend. Bye.